Hello everyone. So for this video let's discuss a bit about making builds or armor sets, however you know them. If you are a speedrunner, chances are that this video is not going to really help you, but if you play for the fun of playing, this may give you a solid idea about possible builds. For this, I need to explain some general details about armor sets. I am not going to jump into the math of all of these, because that will make this video insanely long. The long story short is that every weapon has different results with different skills. Once again, something that we all know, but it is important to understand it properly. Putting a solid example about this, as a lance player, there are different ways to make a solid lance build, but let's say that the core of the lance is guarding attacks. So, having that idea in mind, there are three basic ways to look at it, using guard 5 and guard up 3 for a defensive set, guard 3 and guard up 2, or no guard at all to prioritize damage. For lance players, it's sometimes a sin watching a lance build with no guard, but once you have hunted a monster several times, you learn to use some other things rather than relying so much in guard points. It is important to point out that guard is a heavily used skill, because playing with guard 5 and then no guard at all feels like day and night. You can share that same idea for some other skills and weapons, like rapid morph, protective polish, offensive guard, and even some other skills that do not precisely impact your gameplay in a direct way. One example of this is slugger or stamina depth. In other words, it is important to know where your build is going, get the feel and solid idea of it. Every person is going to have a different approach for every build, and even different concept of armor set making. Reason why there are a lot of videos talking about this kind of topic. So here, as you can see, there is a difference from player, ideas, and situation. What do I mean with situation? Once again, putting the lance as example, fighting some monster with no guard at all requires a good deal in skills, and some monsters are going to relentlessly attack you, so playing against some of them with no guard is like a death wish. You are going to get wrecked, or it's going to be a really hard fight. As you can see, everyone is going to adapt their build to their own needs. And what I love about all of this is that there are no rules about any of this. Sure, you can try to optimize some builds by using certain pieces of equipment. There's a good chunk of pieces that have really good skills, like the crown, Anjanath coil, golden hakama, Balsrat's braces, and so on. Just as an idea, let's break your weapon with the next concept: fast hitting weapon and a slow hitting weapon. In other words, it could be something like dual blades versus greatsword. And then we have a lot of weapons in between. If you have a slow hitting weapon and you want to prioritize status ailment or elemental damage, my recommendation is trying to get, for example, the ailment 3 or 5, depending from it, and the elemental at 5, unless you have another idea in mind due to the slot in the weapon. And for fast hitting weapons, I wouldn't really prioritize the ailment or elemental damage, because you will be able to proc with a lot of ease. The same thing applies with weapons that have multiple hits in between, like switch shots or charge blade. However, the factor that breaks apart a standard build from an optimized build is the charm, because there are a lot of types and skills, and that at the end will break a lot the way a build is made. For me, it's really easy getting attack boost 7, but just because I have this charm. Otherwise, depending from armor set to armor set, it would be a huge investment. And as I have this, there's people that have Critical Eye 3, Guard 3, and so many weird combination of skills that may be really optimal for a certain weapon and playstyle. We all know that our luck is different. I'm sure there's someone out there with a weakness exploit 3 in a charm, and they are not going to need Balzrat's braces anymore, being able to play much more with their armor sets. And personally, I don't feel that comfortable showing crazy builds that not many people will be able to create, but just because of a god tier charm. In other words, if you have one of those god tier charms, it's much better to focus on that rather than trying to follow the idea of a third person. As you can see, there are potentially a lot of best builds in the respective category. What I can share with you is that there are no rules to make a build. There is no perfect recipe, because you can potentially optimize a build in so many ways that it basically depends from your luck at some point. So, if you are one of those persons that think that you need to have a really specific build to be good at this game, chances are that you're a douchebag or a really skilled person, but I will bet that you are the first rather than the second. I hope this video really helps you to understand how to make your own builds and have fun in this game that has no rules written in stone. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.